Camels, Tigers and Unicorns is a book which summarizes the results of this research program, our analysis, and the new concepts and tools we've developed. We recognize that the book has an enormous amount of detail, and we also recognize that many of the case studies and detailed examples that we gathered during our work need to be introduced to entrepreneurs and readers, which is why we have created a digital companion for the book. The purpose of the short introduction is really to try and set the scene, to enable readers to read and assimilate the results in the book and also use the digital companion in a more user-friendly way. The book itself depends on a number of key building blocks. So our approach to rethinking science and technology commercialization is based on a number of key building blocks. And it's worth summarizing these key building blocks to start with. The first is defining the level of maturity of any technology. To do that, we use the idea of modified technology readiness levels, which build on the work done by NASA in the 1990s, but importantly, provide a much more precise definition of the state of maturity of a technology based on potential outcomes rather than any technical detail. Secondly, we need to understand the overall environment in which commercialization happens. So in order to do that, we looked at trying to understand the key drivers that affect the process. And having experimented with a number of what we call secondary measures, such as the valuation of a firm or how much investment the firm had raised, we honed in on the idea of customer data as being the primary metric to drive everything. And deep analysis of the customer data from a wide variety of companies in a wide variety of geographies, wide variety of technology spaces, led us to create the triple chasm model. The triple chasm model effectively identifies three chasms or hurdles along the commercialization journey. And so at this point, what we should do is summarize and say that the key thing readers need to understand is that this process is driven by diffusion and discontinuities, which are the three chasms. So that's the second thing. The third thing we need to really address in order to frame our work is to understand the key drivers which can affect the progress of a firm along the journey through the three chasms. And in order to do that, we turned to Schumpeter's early work from 1948 and have defined a mesoeconomic approach which sits in between the conventional macro approach favored by economists and theories of the firm, which depend on the idealized view of a firm in microeconomics. We have turned these mesoeconomic drivers into defining 12 explicit mesoeconomic vectors with their subvectors, which we believe provide the clue to understanding what levers a firm can pull as it's commercializing. We then combine the MTRLs, the modified technology readiness levels, with the triple chasm model and with the commercialization vectors in order to create a frame or a canvas which we call the commercialization canvas. This effectively provides a canvas onto which one can paint the current status and the progress and the potential trajectory of a firm as it is developing its technology and trying to go to market. Having developed this commercialization canvas, we now have been able to map the activities of different actors, we call them actors because we like the analogy, onto this canvas. And so we can map the behavior of incubators, accelerators, technology transfer offices, and the actions of entrepreneurs themselves onto this canvas. So this canvas becomes a very powerful tool for being able to assess progress of a firm on its journey to success, we hope. Mapping the activities of actors onto the canvas enables us to plot the typical trajectory for firms. So we have been able to describe in detail the things that firms need to do at different points in their journey and how those things can be improved. And we hope that the trajectory mapping onto the commercialization canvas will provide a practical guide and signpost which will be of value to firms when they're trying to commercialize their activities. Finally, we believe that the approaches outlined in Camels, Tigers and Unicorns, in conjunction with the digital companion, will enable all the stakeholders involved in this commercialization journey to make a better job of what they're doing currently.